Intrepid sees roughly a little over 1 million visitors a year that tour through its decks and get rich understanding of its engineering and scientific background, along with the wonderful histories of the sailors that made this vessel run. Intrepid was commissioned in 1943 with a straight deck. During the jet age, the ship was modified to an angled deck to be able to be prepared to participate in Vietnam. Following that, the ship participated as a recovery vessel for the space race, picking up 2 capsules, and then was retired in 1974. It remained for about 8 years in Navy storage, and then was turned into a museum as it was saved by the Fisher Foundation in 1983. About 15 years ago, Intrepid began the process of exploring 3D scanning the ship to capture for preservation and documentation of the structure. We've worked with FARO for the past 3 years to go through systematically through the entirety of the ship and capture that and create a baseline point cloud system.
FARO Technologies is a reality capture company, and we build laser scanners, and we have software suites that help our customers to scan and then use the data that they capture.
We partnered with FARO on this project because they proved to be one of the leaders in the industry. They had the tools and expertise to guide us through the process and to tackle such a complex environment.
We're using FARO premium scanners, and they use LiDAR imaging to capture the entire environment, 360 capture. To be able to preserve history like this, to be able to come into ship and see it as it was, built back in the 40s, it's been amazing, really. It really is a privilege to be able to come in and capture a space like this. So many people have served on this ship, and to be able to preserve this as it was, and to be able to let other generations see this as it is right now, is just such a big deal.
Intrepid went through several modifications during its history. All the blueprints at the point that the ship was built and modified were all hand-drawn. There has never been a digital documentation of the ship, and the plans are not 100% accurate.
Some of the blueprints that we have were hand-drawn almost half a millennium ago. And what we're doing, taking all of the different scans within the project and turning them into a digital copy or a digital twin. And this can now be transferred maybe into the next millennium and be able to create 3D models or create a different set of blueprints from the scans we're doing today.
Probably the biggest project that I've ever been involved in. Using the scanner, we basically scan small areas of the ship. And when you consider the size of the ship, it's essentially a 15-story building on its side. There's hatches and small spaces, and we basically just capture those one at a time. We stitch them together into decks, and then we stitch the decks together. So it has been a gargantuan project, absolutely huge project.
We've been essentially virtualizing the Intrepid. Nobody's done this before. That's no small order. This thing is huge. And every space leads to more spaces. And some spaces nobody's been in decades.
So currently only 44% of the ship is accessible to the public. We're exploring how we can make inaccessible spaces accessible to the public through the use of 3D modeling.
We've had to get very creative with getting our equipment up and down through stairways, through little tiny hatches in the ground. It's really been the most complicated scanning job I've ever seen. So to be able to stitch all these scans together, little pieces at a time in such a complicated space has been just incredibly challenging.
This is huge and incredibly complex because each scan has to have a name. And you have to know that this scan connects with this room and this hallway and this stair and this ladder and this hatch. It's mind-blowing what the team has done behind the scenes. The end result is scans all stitched together that you can manipulate in 3D, cut cross sections through. It's the coolest thing ever.
So through this digital point cloud data and the modification and modeling of that, we'll be able to offer views into spaces of the ship and cut-throughs of systems that connect large swaths of the ship through multiple decks that you would never be able to do with physically going into those spaces.
I've been in boiler rooms, engine rooms, steering gear rooms. They're parts of the ship that no person has probably seen since the ship was built.
We can use this data to recreate the space. We can use it to create models. You can create interactive learning through VR, through AR, or through AI even. There's so much that you can do with the data. It gives access to people all over the world. You don't have to come to the ship. Children anywhere in the world can come and visit the Intrepid and see the history, and you actually genuinely can feel it when you're in a scan in VR. It's amazing how you can really feel that you're in the space. So to capture it like this, the possibilities for this data is just endless.
When the data is ready to be seen, it's three-dimensional. It can be in color or not. You can orbit, spin, look, cut cross sections, you can do anything you want with it. But the magic is that it provides context. It's visual. You can see the data and go, wow, I get it. That's an aircraft carrier, that's the Intrepid.
My favorite part of this process so far is being able to relive the history of this ship, being able to relive the history of just the way that the sailors moved around the ship, their operations, their day-to-day tasks, and being able to be in those different spaces and capturing that for future use.
This is a proud ship with an amazing history and a story that has to be told. It has to be told. Sailors have lived and died on this ship in this space. Lives have begun and ended here, and certainly been affected here in ways we can't possibly imagine. And it goes all the way up to, pulling space capsules out of the ocean.
For many people, they never have an opportunity to step on the deck of such a large military vessel. Through this, they can learn about the stories of the individuals that made this ship run, that spent their time here.
It's that thought that what we're doing is something that's going to be able to help future generations into perpetuity. I mean, these scans they'll keep them, they'll archive them, and they'll be available for anybody that wants to see them. So very important part of what we do is that feeling that you're giving back.
Being a native New Yorker, being on this project itself using the scanner, it's becoming a part of New York's history and a part of the nation's history.